Hey guys, I'm pretty excited about this video. It is going to be about the 6 different kinds of homeschool methods. So many of you have asked me to make videos about homeschooling, how we homeschool, why we chose to homeschool, how you start homeschooling. I've made lots of day in the life videos that show lots of pieces of our homeschool day, a typical day here at our house. I've also shared in past videos why we homeschool. In a nutshell, we wanted to be the ones in control of shaping our children's worldview, to have the freedom and the flexibility to live the life of entrepreneurs. We work together as a family and we like to set our own schedules, teaching them about the Lord and His Word, and to develop deep relationships with our children so that as they grow up and go on with their lives, we will have a profound, rich relationship. And that is the hope and the goal and what we work towards each day. But we are not naive enough to think there are any formulas or guarantees to any of this. It is just what we feel led to do by the Lord. So there are 6 types of homeschooling. The first one is traditional, and traditional is pretty much school at home. You're sitting in a desk having textbooks and work from the public school system provided for you to do at home instead of at school. And that is exactly what traditional is. I feel like we implement a little taste of traditional in our home because we do have a classroom, and I have organized, very structured morning time with the children, but that is only to accomplish our morning lessons. We listen to music, we recite poetry and scripture, we'll do our math and our grammar and our English, our Spanish and our dictation and spelling, and then we are done in the classroom for the day. We do all of our out loud reading for all of our other subjects, either on the bed, cuddled, or on the sofa cuddled, or outside on a picnic blanket, or on the porch swing, and we enjoy the outdoors and not being in the classroom for all of our other subjects. I really wanted a schoolroom because we were starting to collect a lot of things from nature, and we were creating things that we wanted to post on the walls, and I wanted the books more accessible to the children and to put up maps and to do our timeline, and I wanted a bigger whiteboard and a place to sit and leave stuff versus the dining room table where every meal I felt like I was clearing off all of our schoolwork and putting it right back on every day. This has provided our own space where we can just leave our stuff, go eat, come back, and also close the door for the days Daddy's here while we're doing school. It provides less distraction. Honestly, I don't know anybody that does traditional method of homeschooling, and I know a lot of homeschoolers. So traditional is definitely the most rigid, the least relaxed method of homeschooling. The next least relaxed is classical. Classical, if you've heard of classical conversations, that's what it is. I have several friends that have done or are doing classical conversations. And the way I was first explained what classical conversations or classical education was, they told me to envision it like a pegboard. And throughout the course of your child's education, you're putting pegs, like Boston Tea Party, tick, Statue of Liberty, tick, Aristotle, tick, and you're putting these pegs, and then throughout the course of their education, you start to hang stuff on those pegs. So basically they memorize all these things, they have no idea what they are, and then throughout the course of their education, they start to build on those things. They deepen their education on each thing. So it's like a 4-year cycle, and honestly, that's how we do our nature study. Our nature study is on a 4-year cycle. So our first year of school, we studied, I don't even remember, I think it was Brook, River, Ocean. And that was one of the nature studies because it switches with each season. So next year we'll probably repeat Brook, River, Ocean, but next year they're a lot older. They're going to be able to retain a lot more information about Brook, River, Ocean. And so we'll read more, we'll do more, it'll look very different than it did 4 years ago. So it's on that 4-year cycle, so you repeat. Our history is also on a cycle. I don't know if it's 4 years or longer, but we've already done ancient times, we've already done Middle Ages, we've already done the Renaissance, and now we are in the 1700s through the American Revolution and the French Revolution, and we'll repeat all of that through the next few years. So I love that because what they've learned already is great, but they're gonna learn even more in depth because of their capacity as an older child. So classical is known for grammar, for rhetoric, for logic. They are big on learning Latin. They have recitation. And that's pretty much all I know about classical. I don't really implement much. I think that Charolette Mason does overlap in some ways with classical, and I love all their material, but it's a little too rigid for me. I like to take the next step down, which is the more Charolette Mason approach. And even though I adore Charolette Mason approach, I don't do it perfectly either. Charolette Mason is huge on habits, and we've, you know, trained our children. They're great habits and they're good things to talk about, but to ever expect your children to perfect those things, I think it's really nice on paper and sounds great coming from a woman that doesn't have children, but no, just not a battle that I have chosen. I love talking about the habits. We do bring them up and we do teach our children to like get up, make their bed, brush their teeth, get dressed, but they're not little soldiers about it. So to me, that's okay. I think most moms will say they have to repeat themselves to their children. It reminds me of something. God has to repeat himself to me very often. So she's all about habits and I think it's great, but I don't think that we need to go crazy with that. I also love Charolette Mason's approach to subjects being short. We go through so many subjects in one morning time, which is usually about an hour and a half or so. So that's 10 subjects, but they all take less than 5 minutes with the exception of the English studies, the English lessons, and the math. Both of those probably take 15 to 20 minutes each. But the rest are like that. And I just love that approach about Charolette Mason because it's literally just like this gradual accumulation throughout the course of the year where you start, where every day you just give them this much, but by the end of the year, they have this much. And it's just really neat to see how if you just practice a poem for 2 weeks, your children memorize it and they can recite it beautifully. If you practice a hymn for 2 weeks, your children know a new hymn by memory. If you have a scripture posted in your classroom and you read it every day, it takes 1 minute. They will memorize it by the end of the week. It's just fascinating. And if you have nice art displayed, classical music playing, they're exposed to the arts. Beautiful, tasteful, good classical art and music. And that's another thing that I love about Charolette Mason. I love that she encourages you to have an atmosphere of learning. And so we've really implemented that in our home. We have books everywhere. We have books at the dining room table, in the classroom, on the coffee table, in the kids' rooms, stacks everywhere, baskets, shelves, because we want them accessible to the children. We want them to be able to pick up a book at any given time and explore. Those are the things we do like in an hour and a half in the morning, and then later in the day we read out loud. And that is another thing I love about Charolette Mason. It's all about the living books. It's subjects, but in story form that are exciting and entertaining and interesting to read versus textbooks. So we do all of our history, our science, geography to these great, rich living books that we just have a blast reading together. And that's something else that this approach, Charolette Mason approach, has helped us cultivate in our home, is a read out loud culture. We have all these inside jokes and references that we make together, and it's just allows us to experience these things together and learn them together, and I just love it. Okay, so I can talk forever about Charolette Mason because I obviously love that. So she encourages an environment, an atmosphere where you can learn the habits, which I told you about that, living books, which I told you about that, gentle learning, which I told you about that. That's the, you know, gradual accumulation of learning. The outdoors, literature, nature study journals, I adore. We devote one whole day of the week to go on nature walks and do a journal study, a nature study journal entry, which it could be anything. It could be a seed that we find and we draw it and research it. We'll watch videos about it, look at books, and it could be a bird, it could be a leaf, it could be clouds, it could be stars, it could be any animal we see. And it's just so fun, you guys. I love it. So Charolette Mason has a lot of beautiful, wonderful things that I love and we implement in our schooling. And I will stop talking about Charolette Mason now because I can go on forever. Another method, which I'm sure you've heard of, is Montessori. Very popular in preschools. It's funny, I didn't know anything about Montessori, but I remember when I was in college. I was actually a music ed major and I had to do an internship in a preschool, and it was Montessori class and I had no idea. Now looking back, I'm like, oh, but they had all these stations and I thought it was so cool. They had like a little dress up station, a little pretend kitchen station, blocks, Play-Doh art station where they could paint, and the kids would just go to whatever station they wanted to be at and they would play there for a while. And there was no forcing them to move or a time limit or anything. They just said, they had like the carpet time, they would sing a song, do a few things, practice their letter of the day, and then they would say, go to the station you want to be at, and everyone would just go. So it's very self-directed and allows the child to explore and learn on their own, which when your kids are little and at home, that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, we all like follow our child around outside. What do you want to see? Oh, they pick up a stick. Let's talk about this stick. Where'd this stick come from? You are teaching your children. They are self-directed and you are following their direction on what to teach them their entire little years, you know? Just really interesting how it's come so natural to mothers to teach their children, and I think Montessori is one of those things that just happens naturally at home. So Montessori is very hands-on. They learn through doing. The next method is called unschooling, which I don't really know how to define unschooling. I think it's completely child-led learning. So I'm assuming that means they're looking at a book about stars. They're learning about stars by themselves, with or without you. I'm not sure exactly, but that's what I think unschooling is. And I think that we kind of unschool for a portion of our day too. I mean, really, we do like traditional in the morning, we do Charolette Mason like throughout life. And there are times when our kids are just off on their own, and isn't like when kids are outside unschooling because they're seeing things and learning. I'm not that sure. I could be wrong about that. If anyone knows more about what unschooling is and what it actually looks like, please educate me, because I think it's just living life and learning from the things around you, I think. I don't know. And then the last one is Eclectic, which is what I think every homeschooler I've ever met does. It is taking a little bit from each method or from various methods. It's not just one thing. I don't know anybody that just does traditional or just does classical or just does Montessori or just unschools. I feel like everyone takes the eclectic approach where you pick and choose. That's the freedom and the flexibility and the luxury that comes with homeschooling, is you're not stuck to one thing. You can do whatever. So I've shared in many of my videos that I utilize the free Charolette Mason curriculum online. It's called amblesideonline.org, and it's a free 36-week curriculum schedule just laid out for you. I don't do every single little thing on there. I pick and choose. And if I like some living books from Beautiful Feet geography curriculum, I go to the library and I get those instead of the ones listed in the Charolette Mason. Or if I like if I want to do a unit study on something, I'll do a unit study on something and go off a little of the history curriculum with Charolette Mason. Whatever, you know, you can be really creative. One of my dream unit studies is Lewis and Clark. I am so excited about doing a Lewis and Clark unit study. I want to, you know, geography, it's a given how we're gonna study geography with Lewis and Clark, and history, what was going on in the world at that time, what their mission was. We could study about rivers. We can study about the flowers and the birds that they encountered as they made their journey. We can study about the Indians and the different tribes that they encountered as they made their journey. We can study about how they set up camp, what they wore, what they ate, I mean, so many neat things. And then we live 4 hours away from the gateway to the west. So I want to end our unit study with a trip there to the museum and to the arch and to the spot where they set sail on the Missouri River. I have stood there a few times already. It's so cool. So I just think the kids would love that. And then when you can connect and bring together everything you've been learning with like a real life experience, it's unforgettable for the rest of their lives. So unit study is another awesome thing you can do as a homeschooler. I feel like there's so many things I can say and that I want to say. I think my biggest encouragement is to have grace on yourself, because it is a journey for the mother and it is a good journey. It's sanctifying. You learn how to let go. You learn what you want your atmosphere to be like and you work towards that. the biggest advice I can give you as you're trying to figure out what to do is don't find something that you like and then try to conform to it. Find something that is like you and like your children already and make it naturally conform to you, to your home and your family and the flow of your life. And if you have to do 1 or 2 things, it's okay, or 2 or 3 things, it's okay. That's the beauty and the flexibility you have. And if you tend to be a certain way and your children are not, you can conform a little. I would be a very rigid, rigorous classroom setting, all the way structure freak if it was all up to me. But I don't want to do that to my boys. I don't want to do that to them. So I have my little fill in the morning with the classroom setting, and then it's like, go, run free, run wild, have fun, enjoy life outside, you know? So I feel like it's a good balance for us. That may not work for you. You may have children that love the classroom setting and want that structure. You may have kids that you can't even make them write 2 words and you have to wait a few years before they will do that without having a meltdown. We've all been in many different places, and it's okay. It's okay. You gotta have grace on yourself and enjoy the ride, because it is a ride, big time. There's so many things that I could say. Oh, some other stuff to create an atmosphere of learning that we have implemented. I shared about the books around the whole house. We read together and experience that together. I always have classical music on. We do nature walks and journal entries. We do the garden together. Any work like cooking, making yogurt, making bread, anything neat that they can get involved in, involve them. That is all learning. Animal care. If there's a pregnant cat, we have one. I cannot wait till they can see the babies be born and then take care of the babies. And exploration together. Limited screens. We have no screens in our house except the iPad, which is folded and put away, and we bring it out sometimes for family documentary watching, or we watch Bob Ross a lot, The Happy Painter. Because screens are always gonna win, you guys. If you have screens, they're gonna win. They're gonna beat out of books and puzzles and bird watching. No kid is gonna say, Showtime or bird watching. They're gonna pick Showtime. So if you don't have that accessible or available, then who knows what they will gravitate towards and learn about and experience, you know? We have binoculars by windows with bird books sitting there so that they can look at the birds. And I think that's all I listed. And the garden, it's so fun to do the garden together every spring. We're actually planting our garden right now. We have like a blueprint of what we're gonna plant where. We're gonna go get the seeds in the soil and till up the soil and get it going. And then when things grow, it's so exciting to eat it because they grew it, you know? So involve your children in your life, and they learn as they're doing, learning while they're living with you. You're preparing them for their future, and there's so many good things that come out of it, you know, and it really builds your relationship with your child. So I feel like I told you everything I wanted to tell you, and then I know that when I post this, I'll be like, oh, I should have said this or that. Everyone approaches schooling different too. Like, I am hands-on involved in everything. I love it. Not all my friends do that. Some of my friends have their kids on their computers for certain subjects, and some friends just give them a a worksheet, and they're like, bring it to me when you're done. And some friends take them to a co-op twice a week, and somebody else is in charge of certain subjects, and some friends have tutors come for certain subjects. It is all okay. Like, there's no one right way. You're gonna see what fits you, your family, what you can afford, what you can't afford, how you're gonna cut corners to do things free. Library, libraries are awesome. And communicate with your children. Librarian, they will order the books that you need for your curriculum, especially if you get a head start. And check out thriftybooks.com for really good prices on books. And if you can't find the books at the library, free online, or if you can't find them to order them, then just don't get them. Do something different. There's so many books out there. You're not gonna die if you go off the schedule. Like, it's okay. And the biggest thing that I can say is always keep right here. What you are trying to accomplish is give your children the love of learning, the joy of knowledge. That's your goal. For them to love knowledge, because then, since you can't teach them everything, they will go and learn on their own. As they get older and older, they will go and learn. And that is so much richer and better than forced busy work. Do this, do it. That is like the worst experience ever. I always think I want them to love learning, and I want them to look back and be so happy that they were homeschooled, not I am not doing that to my children, or that was awful, I can't believe my parents did that. Not that there might not be seasons like that in their life. I'm sure there's homeschoolers that loved it when they were little, had a rough patch here, and then were so thankful afterwards. So, you know, you gotta figure things out for your own family, and that's between you and the Lord and your husband. But I definitely feel like when we are excited and we're enjoying ourselves, they're excited and they're enjoying themselves. And the joy of learning is the ultimate goal. So I hope this video is encouraging to you. You know, mothers have been doing this since the beginning of time. It's only been the last 100 years that we've had formal education systems in place. You can homeschool if you want to. You can, I promise. You can do it. There are countless ways of being mentored and having support groups, and there's incredible podcasts and resources, curriculums, events that you can go to. There's probably a homeschool community where you live. You just have to find them, and you are capable of doing it, because I firmly believe no one can teach your child better than you can. I just want to encourage you, if you don't want to homeschool, that's fine, but don't ever say you don't want to homeschool because you don't think you could do it, because yes, you can. You totally can. So be encouraged. If you are venturing out on this amazing journey, you're gonna have hard moments. The first year is always hardest. It's okay. It's gonna get easier. You're on a journey, you and your kids, and you're going to learn as you go. It's sanctifying. Be encouraged. Have grace, 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 grace on yourself. And let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or extra information that I didn't have, or anything you've learned as a more experienced homeschool mom than me, and what you love about homeschooling. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful day, and God bless you. Please subscribe, please like this video, and please like my other videos. Thanks.